Let's travel back in time to the Mesozoic era, the legendary age of reptiles, a period that transformed our planet in ways almost unimaginable today. This was a time when giant dinosaurs dominated not just the land, but also the sky and the sea, shaping entire ecosystems with their presence. The Mesozoic era spanned an astonishing 186 million years, beginning about 252 million years ago, and ending 66 million years ago, covering three major periods: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. To put that in perspective, modern humans have only existed for about 300,000 years, a mere blink compared to the reign of the dinosaurs. Back then, the continents were arranged very differently, clustered together in supercontinents, and the climate was much hotter and drier than what we experience now. The plants, too, were strange and exotic, with forests of towering conifers, cycads, and ferns dominating the landscape. After the catastrophic Permian-Triassic extinction, life slowly rebounded, paving the way for the rise of dinosaurs, as well as crocodiles, turtles, lizards, and the very first mammals, small, shrew-like creatures that scurried in the shadows of giants. The oceans, too, were alive with incredible diversity, teeming with massive marine reptiles, while pterosaurs soared high above the ancient coastlines. But none of this incredible diversity would have been possible without the right combination of plants and climate, which provided food and shelter for all these creatures. The Mesozoic's unique environment set the stage for these giants. There were no polar ice caps, just a hot, dynamic world full of change and opportunity. So let's dive in and explore how shifting geography, dramatic climate, and evolving plant life shaped this ancient era, and made it one of the most fascinating chapters in Earth's history. At the dawn of the Mesozoic era, the world looked dramatically different from today. All the continents we now know were fused together, forming a single colossal landmass called Pangaea. This supercontinent stretched from pole to pole, dominating the planet and shaping the course of life for millions of years. Imagine being able to walk from what is now Florida all the way to Morocco without ever seeing an ocean. For the creatures of the Triassic period, this was their everyday reality. Vast, uninterrupted expanses of land, connected regions that are now separated by thousands of miles of water. Pangaea's immense size meant that its interior was isolated from the moderating influence of the oceans. As a result, the heart of the supercontinent was dominated by harsh deserts, extreme temperatures, and unpredictable weather patterns. Life here had to adapt to some of the most challenging conditions on Earth. This ancient connection explains why scientists find similar fossils on continents that are now separated by vast oceans. Fossilized remains of the same species appear in South America and Africa, or in Europe and North America, providing clear evidence of their once shared past. Early dinosaurs and reptiles roamed freely across this enormous land, spreading far and wide. This allowed for a relatively uniform global ecosystem, where similar species could be found across huge distances, shaping the evolution of life in remarkable ways. But Pangaea was not eternal. Deep within the Earth, tectonic forces were at work, slowly pulling the supercontinent apart. During the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, cracks formed, and the land began to split, setting the stage for a new world. As the continents drifted apart, new oceans like the Atlantic began to form. Land masses moved toward their modern positions, forever changing the face of the planet and the habitats available to life. The breakup of Pangaea created entirely new coastlines, climates, and isolated populations. These changes drove evolution in new and unexpected directions, leading to the incredible diversity of life we see today. The story of the Mesozoic era is not just about the rise and fall of dinosaurs, but also about the restless movement of continents and the dramatic changes they brought to Earth's environment. Geography has always shaped life's possibilities on a global scale, influencing evolution, climate, and the very history of our planet. Step into the Mesozoic and you'd feel the heat. Earth was a true greenhouse world. No permanent polar ice caps, just a warm planet fueled by high levels of greenhouse gases from intense volcanic activity. Even the poles supported forests and reptiles. Pangaea's vast interior was arid, with deserts larger than any today and extreme seasonal swings. Only the toughest plants and animals survived these harsh conditions. As Pangaea broke apart, new coastlines allowed more moisture inland, making the world greener and more humid. Higher sea levels flooded continents, creating shallow seas teeming with marine life. This warm, dynamic climate dictated where plants could grow and how animals adapted. The Mesozoic was a world shaped by heat, without ice and unlike anything we know today. Climate was the engine behind the rise and fall of the dinosaurs. The Triassic period, the first act of the Mesozoic, began after Earth's greatest extinction. The world was forever changed. Over 90% of marine species and 70% of land vertebrates had vanished, leaving behind a planet nearly empty, waiting for new life to emerge and fill the void. The world was hot, dry, and dominated by deserts, an empty canvas for new life. Vast stretches of barren land scorched by relentless sun became the testing ground for survival and adaptation. Plants had to be tough. Gymnosperms like conifers, cycads, and ginkgos thrived thanks to their drought-resistant seeds. These hardy pioneers were able to colonize the dry soils, anchoring the fragile beginnings of new ecosystems. Forests of ancient pines grew where rain fell, while cycads dotted the arid plains. Ginkgos, with their fan-shaped leaves, became living fossils, enduring the harshest conditions. Early Triassic survivors like Lystrosaurus gave way to new reptiles, especially the archosaurs, ancestors of crocodiles, pterosaurs, and dinosaurs. These creatures were quick to adapt, evolving new forms and behaviors to cope with the changing world. The first dinosaurs were small, nimble, and two-legged, appearing mid-Triassic. They were agile hunters and foragers, perfectly suited to the unpredictable environment. The period ended with another extinction, clearing the way for dinosaurs to dominate. This second crisis reshaped the balance of life, opening new opportunities for those able to endure. The Triassic forged resilient life, saw Pangaea's assembly and initial breakup, and set the stage for the giants to come. The shifting continents created new habitats and challenges, driving evolution forward. It was a world of extremes, where only the adaptable survived. Every plant and animal that thrived here carried the legacy of resilience. The groundwork for the age of dinosaurs was laid in these harsh, arid lands. Here, evolution's crucible forged the traits that would define the next era. The Triassic was the crucible of the Mesozoic, a time of struggle, innovation, and the birth of giants. Enter the Jurassic, where the world transformed from desert to lush paradise. As Pangaea split, rainfall increased, shrinking deserts and fueling explosive plant growth. Gymnosperms formed immense forests. Towering conifers, cycads, tree ferns, and ginkgos created a multi-layered ecosystem. This plant boom fed giant herbivores like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus, the largest land animals ever. Sauropods thrived, eating hundreds of pounds of tough plants daily. Armored dinosaurs like Stegosaurus and predators like Allosaurus filled the landscape. New oceans teemed with ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, while pterosaurs soared above. The Jurassic was a time of dynamic evolution, driven by climate and geography. Life reached gigantic proportions, both on land and in the sea. The stage was set for the final, most innovative chapter, the Cretaceous. The Jurassic was the golden age of giants. The Cretaceous, the Mesozoic's final and longest period, saw continents near their modern positions and sea levels at their highest. Dinosaur diversity peaked, but the real revolution was the rise of flowering plants, angiosperms. Early flowers were small and weedy, but by the end they included magnolias, water lilies, and sycamores. Flowers changed everything, co-evolving with insects like bees and butterflies for efficient pollination. Gymnosperms still dominated many forests, feeding giant herbivores. Iconic dinosaurs like T-Rex, Triceratops, and Hadrosaurs flourished in this vibrant world. The Cretaceous was a time of innovation with new plants and the most advanced dinosaurs, but it ended abruptly. 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid struck, triggering a global extinction. The non-avian dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and many marine reptiles vanished, ending the Mesozoic. The world was forever changed by this cataclysm. For most of the Mesozoic, gymnosperms, conifers, cycads, and ginkgos were the planet's green giants. Their seeds sat exposed on cones, not hidden in fruit, making them tough survivors. Conifers formed vast forests, from uplands to coastal plains with colossal trees like Araucaria and Metasequoia. Their tough, needle-like leaves and woody trunks supported massive herbivores like sauropods. Cycads, with their palm-like appearance, were everywhere in the Jurassic, feeding armored dinosaurs. Ginkgos, now nearly extinct, were once widespread, adding unique shapes to ancient forests. These plants were the foundation of the Mesozoic food web, capturing sunlight and fueling the age of dinosaurs. Their resilience and adaptability made them the backbone of terrestrial ecosystems. The green tapestry of the Mesozoic was woven by these ancient plants. They were the true energy makers of the dinosaur world. Gymnosperms thrived thanks to key evolutionary advantages. Their seeds, with protective coats and food supplies, let them survive dry, harsh conditions. Wind pollination allowed them to reproduce without water or animal help, perfect for open, arid landscapes. Strong, woody trunks and tough, waxy leaves helped them grow tall and conserve water. These adaptations let them dominate vast areas, from humid lowlands to dry plains. Their leaves, though tough to eat, were abundant, fuel for the largest animals on Earth. Gymnosperms adapted to many soils and climates, making them global survivors. For over 150 million years, they were the perfect plants for a warm, changing world. Their reign only faded with the rise of flowering plants in the Cretaceous. Gymnosperms were the architects of the Mesozoic landscape. The Mesozoic era reveals the deep connection between climate, geography, and life. It began with arid Pangaea, favoring tough gymnosperms that built the foundation for dinosaur dominance. As continents drifted and climates shifted, lush forests fueled the rise of giant herbivores. The Jurassic's green world enabled sauropod gigantism, driven by abundant plant life. The Cretaceous brought flowering plants, new ecological relationships, and peak dinosaur diversity. Through it all, climate was the driving force, shaping evolution, ecosystems, and extinction. The Mesozoic is a story of change, adaptation, and the power of plants and climate. From deserts to forests to flower-filled landscapes, these forces wrote the rules of life's greatest age. Exploring this lost world reminds us how dynamic and interconnected our planet truly is.